Okay, so just in prep, just make sure that, because this is the sort of thing that you go in a cinema, of course, well, why wouldn't anyone? But then you remind yourself and you look and you go, oh yeah, it's turned on. Mobile phones and any distractions, if possible, unless of course you are, I know Amanda, your other half still in hospital. So if you're someone that wants to have your phone there as an emergency, of course, but if possible, just turn off any distractions and move them away for a moment. The phone will still be there in an hour, I promise. Okay, so most of you guys know me. Probably about half of you already know me. For those of you who don't know me and haven't met me before, my name is Jo. I run some of the sessions, the fitness-based sessions for ICU Steps Chester, and I am a trainer, have been a trainer for more years than I can remember, 20 years, specifically focusing on sort of rehab training, but I'm also training at the moment. I'm studying a degree in physiotherapy, so quite well placed at the moment to kind of deal with people that are in recovery, but also have this little niche that I tend to use at the end of some of my classes that I do for non-ICU Steps Chester classes, which is kind of this little relaxation bit, which we did a few months ago now. I think it must be a few months ago, that went down really, really nicely for people who have been poorly and are either struggling with sleep, or just for people that acknowledge that maybe you need to relax more but you're not quite sure how to, or whether you're someone that does suffer with anxiety or stress or any of the above. This is a really nice thing to do, just to kind of maybe trigger a few habits and patterns that you might be able to get into. We're also going to look at doing some really lovely gentle moving, and I wouldn't even necessarily call it exercise. It's not, it's just movement, which will give you a few stretches to alleviate some of the tight areas of the body. As you'll probably know, when you get stressed, you tend to hold it all in the shoulders and the neck and around the top of the chest. It's a classic sign and symptom of stress. And you have all been in stressful positions, and probably some of you still are in a stressful position. So it will just go towards alleviating any of that stress. And then what we'll be doing is we'll be going through some breathing techniques and the way to try and trigger proper breathing. And then we'll do a section towards the end, which will be a little bit quieter and calmer, where you can choose to stay where you are if you're in a comfortable position, or you can go to lay on a bed. I know last time one of the participants, he sort of did the initial part sitting and was comfortable, but then he took the iPad or whatever device you have over to the bed and he popped it down on the end of the bed and he laid down, and actually for him that was really beneficial. But the most paramount thing here is that you're comfortable. So you don't want to be in a hard chair. You want to make sure that your back feels supported, even though you're sort of in an upright position. You want to be supported and you feel cozy and comfortable and warm. So if you need a blanket, then go and grab one. That's no problem, because you need to be able to switch off. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So I went quite into the science with this last time we did the relaxation session, which I'm not really going to do today. I'm just going to sort of touch on the effectiveness really of what we're going to do, which doesn't have a it doesn't have an airy fairy hippie basis to it. It's not, that's not where this is really coming from, even though I guess is that can be dressed up as being therapeutic. It's more of a therapeutic biological mechanism that helps you to rebalance your internal nervous system. Okay, so we all know the fight and flight response that we have, which of course we know when we talk about horses, and we know when we talk about animals, and we kind of know it when we talk about ourselves and maybe look back in history about fight and flight and that stress response. Well, we still have that stress response now, even though the reasons might be very different to animals or to what we used to be. And the stresses that initiate that stress response are people being poorly, your loved ones being away from you, you being ill, what we see on the television, the current situation we're living in, the man that does your head in because he parks in your space every time you go to come home from work or whatever. There are so many little different things that we don't really acknowledge as being stressors, but actually one on top of the other, they do this job of accumulating, and they build up as this fight and flight response. And the body doesn't disassociate the ability to cope with the parking man and COVID and looking at mobile phone all day, or running away from a big bear. The stress response is exactly the same. And unfortunately, the stress response can trigger things like inflammation, anxiety, depression, which can then lead on to lots and lots of different horrible ailments. None of them good, really. So the stress response is good. It's there to protect us, to keep us safe, to keep our brain functioning, to keep our body alert. But when it's too much, it can send our body out of whack internally with all of these chemicals and hormones. So there are many ways that you can relieve that. You will probably have a method. You do something that you enjoy, or maybe you listen to lovely music. That's a great way of doing it. Doing something that you enjoy and that you like is always a good thing. But there's also one of the cheapest and most effective things that we can do to tackle it, which is our brain and our breathing. And we can introduce ourselves to proper breathing, which might sound a bit odd to some of you that didn't do it last time, but to breathe using the proper functioning muscles that we're supposed to, but also to be able to just switch off and give yourself the opportunity to switch off, because it's not something that's just a bit airy-fairy. It's scientifically proven that if you give yourself 5 to 10 minutes every day where you just allow yourself to acknowledge the stresses that you're going through, and you lower the heart rate, the body starts to be able to cope with all of those stresses much, much better. So it's not just me trying to convince you to do this lovely breathing. It's proven, and I'm sure you can go off and do as much research as you wish into the benefits of it, but hopefully we'll all feel a little bit better later. Some of you, just to warn you, might feel quite sleepy. If any of you have had COVID, or you do have any issues such as emphysema, or if you have had any issues with the lungs, then just be mindful that sometimes deep breathing can initiate a little discomfort. So you know your own body, go with what you feel comfortable with, okay? And also a few people, and I know it's happened lots and lots in the past, when you go into that relaxed state, you can sometimes feel quite emotional, and it can become it can take you a bit by surprise. That's totally normal. It's totally okay. In fact, I'll be offended if you don't know, I'm joking. It's something that will trigger emotions and responses in you that perhaps you're not ready for, but just be aware that that's okay, and just let it flow, and just enjoy it. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, hopefully by now, after my little chat, you've managed to get yourself relatively comfortable. Just going to have a quick drink of my water, and then we are going to practice some moves. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to practice this, what I call diaphragmatic breathing. So it's proper breathing. It's the way we should try and breathe when we have the time to focus on it properly. Okay, so you need to be in an upright position for this. That doesn't mean to say you don't want to be comfortable. You need to be comfortable, but you need to be in an upright position. You can have your feet crossed if you wish, if that's comfortable for you. But if that's a no-go, then just you can pop your feet on the floor, yeah, or you can just hang them off the side of the bed. You can be supported, or you can just be sat nice and tall. Totally up to you. And first of all, we just want you to just give your body a little bit of a jig, just so that you're getting into a place where you feel, okay, yeah, I can settle and I can be quiet in this position, yeah? Once we're rested and we can sort of settle in and be quiet, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to put one hand on your tummy and one hand on your chest, okay? And if at any point anybody wants to turn the video off because you feel self-conscious, nobody is watching you, hopefully they're all watching me, or they have their eyes closed. So if you want to turn your video off, then you are more than welcome to do that. But don't worry, no one's keeping an eye on you. So once you have your hand on your tummy and your hand on your chest, I want you to take a nice big deep breath in through your nose. And just notice what happens to the breath. Notice what happens to the feeling in the chest and the hands. Just do a few regular breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just do that a few times. And for those of you that have been poorly, if it initiates a bit of a cough, again, don't worry, you're on mute. All right, so you keep doing this pattern of breathing, and please don't feel that this is a hyperventilate. That's not what I'm after. I want you to breathe into the very top of your breath, and then I want you to breathe out all of the air that you've breathed in. Yeah, that's how I want you to feel. Now, what I want you to try and sense when we continue with this breathing is I don't want the top hand to move nearly as much as the bottom hand. So as you breathe in, I want your tummy to expand, and I want you to gain this sensation that you're breathing outwards into your rib cage. And then as you breathe out and you exhale and empty the body of air, that rib cage drops down and the tummy gets a little tension in it. But the tension is totally away from the area of the top of the body. We don't want to be using the shoulders. We want to be relaxing the shoulders down, keeping chest rise and fall to a minimum, and maximizing tummy rise and fall, and that sensation of breathing out into the rib cage. I'm just going to let you do that for a minute without me talking at all, okay? And at this point here, if you want to just relax the hands and you can just rest them down, you don't have to be in contact all the time. Just keep that breathing going. If the hands being there helps, then do that. If not, just let them relax. Good. Okay, and then start to just bring your eyes open and start to bring your breath back to a regular rate. We're going to go more into that in a little bit more depth later, but just come away from it slowly so that we've started to think about opening up the parts of the body, the ribs, the muscles that sit between the ribs, the diaphragm that sits underneath the lungs, which is that big sort of umbrella-shaped muscle, wants to be rising and falling, and the tummy muscles want to be playing a role by contracting to push the air out. So the emphasis here is that we use our breathing muscles rather than using our shoulders, because otherwise our shoulders get super, super tight, and it just adds to the stresses and the tension that you might be feeling. Okay. So now using that sort of gentle, deep breathing, you can stay with that throughout as we do some movements, and then we're going to come back to a bit more deliberate breathing later, okay? So first of all, what I want you to do is just free up your hands, and I just want you to acknowledge your fingers. And it sounds a bit silly and a bit crazy, but just building up those pathways and patterns and just becoming aware of those really tiny little intricate muscles that perhaps we take a little bit for granted, yeah? Just wake them up. Bring a few wrists into the rolls, rolls into the wrists. Good. And then just open and close the arms. So we just rotate. And these movements are super gentle. They're not forced. They're just gentle. And all we're doing is we're trying to connect the pathways, again, not on a spiritual level. We're connecting the neurological pathways from our brain down to our limbs so that everything gets some attention, all right? And then relaxing the hands, find some stillness with the hands. Start to take some really gentle shoulder rolls. So you'll have done this probably in any fitness class or a meditation class, or maybe even it's a go-to for you if you feel a bit stressed. You might have a bit of a roll of the shoulders. You might loosen that and do one and then the other. Doesn't have to be anything drastic. And any of the movement that I ask you to do is really kind of a guide. But if you feel like turning that into something different, providing it doesn't increase your heart rate and it's gentle, I'm more than happy. Lovely. And then from here, we're just going to keep our shoulders nice and still. We're going to look over one shoulder And then slowly and gently we're going to turn and we're going to look over the other shoulder. And then we're going to go back. We're going to do that about 8 to 10 times, really slowly. We don't want to be swinging our head around too quick because we don't want to be feeling dizzy. And all the time we're trying to stay nice and relaxed through our upper body. We're thinking about our breathing, left and right. And this might be quite tight for some of you, others you won't feel like this is an issue at all. And it's really just dependent on how you hold your tension, where you hold your tension, and also where you have your strength. Really nice. And then from here, we're just going to take the right hand, if you're happy to. If you're not happy to take the arm overhead, then you just do some shoulder rolls for me. Take a big deep breath in. Breathe in, reach up, and then take that arm back down, nice and relaxed. Take the left, breathe in, reach up, and breathe out. Now, if you're not comfortable with the shoulder over the head, then you just stay with shoulder rolls, okay? One more time. Inhale, reach up, and exhale. Inhale, reach up, other hand. And it's really, really difficult to move with slowness, okay? It's really, really easy to whack your arm into the air and not think about the slowness of the move. We'll do it one more time. Slow, move with real, yeah, that's good. And release one more time. It takes much more concentration to move slowly. Yeah, it takes a little bit more effort than to move quickly. And then give the shoulders a little acknowledge at the bottom here. Okay, so releasing your arms, we're going to do this really nice movement where we're going to bring in a little bit of work into the middle of the back. Sometimes when we sit rounded, or maybe we're at a computer or we're driving or we're watching the telly, we're kind of in this forward slumped position a lot. Yeah, so we're just going to wake up the shoulders because that's a nice way of alleviating tension, to wake up a set of muscles that's not being used. So you're going to just bring the fingertips together, so to acknowledge a little bit of feedback. And then we're going to pull the hands in towards the heart. And as we pull the hands in towards the heart, we're going to gently look up, lift the sternum, or if you think of the scruff of the chest, up to the ceiling, and squeeze the shoulder blades down into the back pocket of your jeans. Yeah, so we're lifting. And then we're going to open, we're going to exhale and reach. Then we're going to inhale and lift. And we're going to exhale and so I want you to feel that the shoulders stay down throughout. I don't want those shoulders to rise up towards your ears. Try and keep them back and down. Really nice. Lifting with your inhale. And then exhale and round them out. And we just want to get this sense of open and close in the shoulder blades, or forwards or backwards, or protraction, retraction. And we're just maneuvering those shoulder blades really gently, lifting and breathing out. Good, go again. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And relax. Good. Give the shoulders another little bit of a roll. This time I'm going to take a few stretches. Okay. So first of all, be quite gentle and tentative with this, because it can be an area that suffers a little bit. So only go as far as you're comfortable, if at all. So we're just going to keep the shoulders down, and we're just going to drop the chin towards the chest. And I don't want the chin to touch the chest necessarily. I just want you to drop it and hold it as low as it will comfortably go. Good. Slowly, slowly, slowly up, 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 up. Looking up towards the ceiling. Take a breath. And then bring it back down to center. Now keeping your shoulders square, and you can do this by placing your hands down by your side so that you don't raise the shoulders at all. Just bring your right ear to your right shoulder. Really nice and subtle. This isn't going to make you more flexible. This isn't going to burn any calories. What we're doing here is we're just acknowledging the muscles that get a bit tight. Now, if you want to at this point here and you feel comfortable, if you have your right ear to your right shoulder, you can gently take your right hand, place it on the outside of the left side of the head, and gently pull the head over towards the right. So you'll feel this lovely opening stretch in the left side, yeah? Really subtle. Great work. Now, when we come back up to center, we want to make sure we release the hand first, then let the head come up slow. Sometimes when the neck is in a stretched position, it takes a bit of time to feel normal again. So just give yourself that time. And then when you're ready, we're going to take the left ear to the left shoulder. So just hold it there and see how tight it feels. Maybe take a breath in. And then if you feel like you want that little extra, you can take the left hand. The hand goes to the outside of the ear and pull it gently over towards the left a bit more. Well done. Really good. Releasing the hand and then making sure you come up slowly. Perfect. Now what I'm going to get you to do is take the right hand for me and just pass it behind you, whether that's on your chair or if you're sitting into the air, just pass it behind you. That's it. So it's just as far back past the body as you comfortably can get it. And then rotate the fingertips to the back of the room. Yeah. And then with your right arm back, we're just going to look left. We just feel that really subtle but gentle stretch across the side of the body, through the head and the neck and the shoulders. Well done. And none of these stretches want to feel like you're forcing or cranking your body somewhere it doesn't belong. It kind of wants to feel like it's opening an area that's holding tension. Really nice. Back through to center. You can let that arm just relax a little bit. And then we take the left hand, place it behind you, point the fingertips to the back of the room, turn and look over that right shoulder and feel that stretch again. Good. Come back through center. All right, in this position here, we just need to be perched very slightly towards the edge of your seat. Yeah, and we're just going to bring a bit of rotation. The rotation is a really nice way to bring some awakeness and awareness to the spine. Also, the spine is an area that holds a lot of tension. So just to subtly, almost like wringing out a tea towel, it just gives you that little bit of mobility without being too stressful. So anybody that has any issues abdominal wise, herniations or stomas, etc., just be mindful that you want to turn mainly through the upper body rather than through the middle. But if you are happy to, you can of course turn from the middle also. So first of all, just test how you feel by rotating to one side and then gently rotating to the other. For those of you who know where your limits lie, you can either keep this slow or you can turn this into more of a fluid, sort of gentle twist side to side. And again, this doesn't want to feel like you're getting ready for a particularly difficult exercise class. This just literally wants to be giving those muscles a little bit of a prod, just to say, wake up. Nice and relaxed. Good, and you're going to hold on one side for me, so whichever side you choose, and then give it a little encouragement to twist a bit further, only within your comfort level again though. Nice, bring it back through center, and then switch the other way. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. Super. And then bring it back to center. Give the shoulders a little bit of a roll. Really well done. Okay, so those types of stretches, they will feel fabulous already for some of you. For some of you, they might feel a bit frustrating because it's like, well, they're so small and insignificant. Do they really work? And the answer is yes, because what you're not aiming to do is work out. We're not aiming to warm or stress or try to get that area of the body to become stronger or leaner. We just want to wake it up, which we have to do subtly. And we then just want to give it the opportunity to lengthen and to release tension. And we can only do that if we don't think that there is burpees or push-ups or something else coming after it. Yeah, so it's just about being open to slow, soft, subtle movements and knowing that there is a benefit to them as well. All right. Okay, so now we're going to do the nice relaxing bit. So if you want to now move to a place where you feel more comfortable, whether that be a bed or laying on your sofa, or you can lay on the floor if you have that ability to lay on the floor. If you are in a couch, you can sit so that your head is against a cushion. I'm going to give you a minute or so don't panic, don't stress, just get cozy. And we're going to do a couple of techniques which will hopefully allow us to just switch off a bit. If you want to have a drink, totally fine, whatever you choose, yeah? Cushions, blankets, you name it. You grab it. This is you time, remember. This is time where you get to switch off just for a few minutes. So do what you need to accommodate that. Okay. I'm going to bring you a little bit closer. So as I said to you before, it can be quite difficult. In fact, for most people, finding a place where you can switch off is actually sometimes more difficult than it is to switch your body on to be active, or to force yourself to go and take the dog for a walk, or whatever that might be. So what I want you to make sure that you do is you are open and you give yourself this next 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to be able to just take it down a notch, and that it's okay to do that. And that actually, if you manage to do that, the benefits of being able to find that place will be tenfold, okay? So wherever you are, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to rest your hands wherever they feel comfortable, whether that's in your lap or on your legs or by your side. It will depend on where you are position-wise. Good. And I just want you to just start to notice what the breath feels like. And we're going to start to think about using that deep breathing technique that we entered or introduced to ourselves before. So a lovely big deep breath in through the nose, expanding outwards the rib cage. And then an exhale and an emptying of the breath. And just notice how it feels when the air enters the nose, breathing in all the way to the back of the nasal passages, all the way down into the lungs, opening out the lungs, expanding the rib cage, and then exhaling down. Big deep breath in through the nose. And just find your own pattern of breathing for the next few minutes. You don't have to worry about the timing of that breath. Just think about becoming aware of the breath. That's all you need to do. Perfect. So now we're in this place where we're aware and we're hopefully starting to just mellow a little bit. We can just acknowledge parts of the body so that we can actively switch them off. So with your next deep breath in, I want you to just think and feel the toes. So maybe wiggle the toes, maybe scrunch them up. And then on the next out breath, I want you to bring some stillness to them. So you've woken them up, you've squeezed them, you've activated them, and then we let them go. And then at the next point, I want you to just acknowledge the backs of the legs, maybe give the backs of the legs a bit of a squeeze. And with the out breath, you then just gently allow them to become heavy, switch them off. Then we think about tightening the tummy. So maybe we pull the tummy in like we're trying to get on a tight pair of jeans. And then as we breathe out, let it go soft. Relax. Try and release the tension from around the lower back. And then we do the same thing here for our shoulders. So this time I'm going to let you squeeze those shoulders up towards the ears. Take a breath in. Find a little bit of tightness. And then let them go heavy. Like a whole big weight has been lifted off the shoulders and they're just allowed to soften and relax. And then we turn our attention to our hands. As we breathe in, we clench our fists nice and tight, maybe even bending the arms a little bit. And then just as we breathe out, let the hands go, let the arms fall down and just release and relax. Perfect. And then last but not least, when we breathe in, I want you to smush your face up. I want you to pout your lips and squeeze your cheeks and wrinkle your forehead and then let it go. And hopefully now we've acknowledged every single body part. So we have said hello and then we've allowed it to just release. And if any part of the body, which there will be a tendency, especially for some of you that know you have areas of stress or tightness or tension, if that area starts to reactivate again, you just acknowledge and do the same thing. So you give it a squeeze and then you let it go with the next out breath. And you can do that whenever you feel you need to. You may not need to, it's totally up to you. And then we're going to try for the next few moments to just think about the breathing and the breathing alone. So what I'd like you to do is imagine a shape inside your head. And that can be any shape at all. You can give this shape a colour. Whatever colour first comes to mind, use that colour. And then we're going to use the timing of our breath to move that shape towards you and away from you. So on your next deep breath in, I want you to move that shape towards you, allowing the colour to brighten and the shape to become bigger. Breathe it in. And then breathe it away. And as you breathe it away, that shape moves off into the distance and just becomes a little more transparent. Focus on the shape, breathing the shape in towards you, allowing nothing else to enter the mind, anything else that wants to creep in and wander in. Just kind of acknowledge it and then move it back to the sides so that we can think about this bright shape moving towards you and moving away from you. And remembering your breath can be as audible as you want it to be. You are in your own safe space. So if you need that breath out to be nice and vocal and noisy, then do that. It helps. Remember to keep the breathing a wide, opening feeling rather than a lift and a lower of the shoulders. Keep the tension away from the shoulders. And then from here, we're going to breathe the shape in. And the next time we breathe the shape in towards us, I want you to hold the shape with you and hold the breath for a count of 3, 2, 1. And now exhale the shape away and try and push it as far into the distance with your breath as physically possible. Breathe it away. And then hold it away for 3 and 2 and 1. So we take this journey now where this shape travels to you, stays with you for a count of 3, is gently and fully pressed away from you with the out-breath and the entirety of the out-breath, and is held away from you for 3, 2, 1. And we're going to stay here for about another 3 minutes. Remember to focus on the colour, the outline of the shape. We think about how that breath feels as it enters the body. We try and pull the shape closer and further away every single time it moves towards us and away from us. When you start to bring the shape towards you now, start to think about the warmth that it brings. So as that shape comes towards you, feel like it warms all the way down into the fingers and the toes. And with that warmth and that breath comes an exaggerated heaviness of the body, so you really start to feel that you're imprinting into the space that you have popped yourself into. Nice and relaxed and calm. The heart rate is low. Breathing is controlled. We're warm and we're safe within our own little bubble. And we're allowing the nervous system to dial down and essentially for the body to be able to heal itself more effectively and calm those tensions that you might be holding on to. And I want you now to bring the breathing into a normal, soft and regular state, so no timing needed. And you can keep the shape with you, or you can choose to allow it to just dial away. And I want you just to now imagine your favourite place in the whole world. That might be a beautiful sunny day at the beach, or you could be floating above snow-capped mountains. Wherever you choose to take yourself, just imagine every single corner and shape and colour, maybe even the sensation and the smell that those places bring, the warmth on your skin. Take yourself off on a little mini holiday. Just give yourself this time to just reset. And as you really start to go deeper into that kind of inner mind connection where you have real control over what you're thinking and feeling, set yourself an intention whilst you're in this space. And that can be as small an intention as you wish, which might be totally insignificant to somebody else, but to you, it's important. And that might be to make sure that you achieve a job tomorrow, or promise yourself to give yourself 5 minutes to do these breathing techniques every day from here on in, or to wear your favourite lipstick when you're feeling down, or to throw away those holey trousers that maybe you've been needing to throw away. Set yourself an intention that you know will declutter your mind, and you will feel a lot better once it's done. And we start to bring ourselves, our mind and our body very slowly and gently back together. So we deepen our breathing again, and we're going to then go reverse. So we take a big deep breath in, and then on your exhale, squish your face again, wake it up. Breathing in, lift the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Wake them up, bring that air and energy and oxygen into that area of the body, and then again, the fingers and the wrists and the arms, give the hands a squeeze as you breathe in, wake it up. And then let it go. And the same with the tummy and the back, big deep breath in. And then let it go with the out breath. Really sensing that we're sending energy back into the body, as well as eliminating those last areas of tension. Squeezing the buttocks and squeezing the legs. Knowing that you have control over all of these areas of your body. And then relaxing them and allowing them to just release. And then the same thing with the feet. Give the feet a little squeeze, gently, gently. Maybe wriggle the toes. And then let them go. Super. And keeping your breathing steady, I want you to take a big deep breath in, a really expansive breath this time, maybe the biggest and loudest and noisiest of all. Open your eyes and breathe out. Do it again. Breathe in, opening your eyes. Breathe out. Relax your hands somewhere comfortable. Look over your left shoulder and then look over your right shoulder. And look over your left shoulder and look over your right shoulder. Bring the head back to center. Let's take the right ear to the right shoulder, a little more relaxed. Hopefully there's a little bit more room there. Again, if you want to use your hand to assist that pullover, be my guest. Little extra pull. Keep your breathing soft and steady. Don't go into a shallow or a too forced breath. Nice and relaxed. Release the head, come back into center. Give the shoulders a little acknowledge, and then go opposite ear to opposite shoulder. If you're wanting to, you can take that little help with the hand. Good, and then slowly bring it back into the center. And again, take a little roll of the shoulders. Start to think about feeling the pads of the fingers together. Just acknowledge them. Give your legs a rub. This feels really ridiculously silly, but just to kind of connect back with your body, to bring some warmth. It gives the brain something to think about. You just ignore acknowledging maybe you might want to rub your arms, and it sounds really ridiculous, but just bringing that sort of awareness, that physicality back. Yeah, really, really nice. So guys, that is just one of many, many techniques out there where you use that visualization breathing to sort of breathe in and breathe out. And that, what that will do is it helps you to just, when you're trying to switch off, it's very easy for all of those hideously stressful things to just jump on in, because it's a free for all, isn't it? When you try and turn off, it just becomes a bit of a melting pot for all of the things that could enter the brain. So what we try and do is we try and fill and flood the brain and the vision and the mind with some form of an image, so that we can focus on that. Sometimes in yoga, sometimes they use a mantra. So that, I don't know that, but that could be a self-love mantra if that's genuinely what you're into. If that's not really what you're into, it might just be a word such as relax, I can relax, I will relax. And just having your brain have something to focus on and think about will eliminate the need for you to be sorting all of the other stuff which is going on, which is really, really useful to do. What I would say to any of you who are really struggling with sleep is that these sorts of things are great to do in the evening. However, they're also really efficient and effective to do during the day, because it gives you, your body and your brain, that time to sort and organize any feelings or emotions or jobs that you might be anxious about, which, let's be honest, when we try and keep ourselves from thinking about them, we get to the end of the day and then poof, you're like a big ticking time bomb. So you then associate going to bed with that sort of sorting process of all the daily stress, because you haven't given yourself opportunity in the day to deal with it. So the more we can try and deal with the things that stress you out in the day by just giving ourselves that 5 to 10 minutes breathing time or just switching off, the less we're likely to overdo thinking about it and stressing about it at bedtime. So try it. And that's not to say that's a quick fix. And that's not to say that that's the one thing that's going to be the trick. But it will be a habit that you need to form, but it will work over a period of time. In addition to all of the things that you will all probably know, such as building a nice sleep hygiene routine, no mobile phones, no bright lights, maybe read a book, find a lavender pillow spray, all of the things that are recommended, try all of them to be able to help with each one. If each one helps 5%, then you're closer to your goal. If you eliminate even the littlest bit of stress by 5% of this and 5% of that, it will help you to reach a goal where hopefully you can switch off at night time. Now, last time when I did this, because I left everyone in this sort of meditation state, I cleared off and everyone said, where did you go? So what I'm actually going to do, for those of you that want to stay in a relaxed state, you can either mute or turn yourself off or leave the meeting or whatever you want to do. But if anybody has any questions you want to ask me, I'm going to stay on for another 5 minutes, so you can slowly come one at a time if you want to ask any questions, or you've got any more tips and tricks you might think that I might be able to give you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and use it. It's genuinely it's the most effective free tool that we have, and we have access to it 24 hours a day. So it's too valuable a tool not to try, and it's free as well. So use it. Okay. Well done, everybody.